This episode contains mature themes and includes narration produced using AI voice technology. Listener discretion is advised. On a cold February night in 2004, a young nursing student named Maura Murray vanished along a desolate stretch of road in New Hampshire. Her car was found crashed, airbags deployed, but Maura herself had disappeared into the dark winter woods. There were no footprints in the snow, no clear sign of where she went or why. In the 2 decades since, theories have spiraled. Was she taken? Did she succumb to the elements? Or did she orchestrate her own escape? What happened to Maura Murray remains one of America's most haunting mysteries. Welcome to 3 Theories, the podcast where we uncover the great mysteries of the world. I'm Elena Hart, your guide on this journey through the unknown. Each episode will examine unsolved cases, paranormal phenomena, and historical and natural mysteries, and explore 3 compelling theories to help you decide. What do you believe? The hum of the engine was steady, almost hypnotic, as the black Saturn pushed north through the darkness. Headlights cut across winding roads, throwing white beams against endless walls of snow. The night was still, except for the tires crunching against the frozen pavement. Inside the car, Maura Murray sat alone, 21 years old, her dark hair falling across her face, her mind heavy with thoughts she couldn't quite put into words. The world outside felt like it was folding in on her. The higher she climbed into New Hampshire's mountains, the emptier the roads became. Mile after mile with no cars, no houses, just shadows of trees standing like sentries against the February sky. The cold seeped in through the glass, sharp enough to sting her fingers when she gripped the wheel tighter. Maybe she was running. Maybe she was escaping. Maybe she was just trying to breathe. No one would ever really know. Earlier that afternoon, she had told her professors a lie, that there had been a death in the family. There hadn't been. She'd withdrawn nearly $300 in cash, bought alcohol, loaded the Saturn with clothes, toiletries, and textbooks, a hasty preparation for, what? A trip? An ending? A beginning? By nightfall, the Saturn swerved off Route 112, colliding with a snowbank. The airbags exploded, filling the car with the acrid smell of chemicals and dust. For a moment, silence. Just the tick of cooling metal and the faint hiss of the engine struggling. Maura sat behind the wheel, dazed but not badly hurt. Her breath fogged the windshield as she tried to steady herself. In the distance, a dog barked. Somewhere a door creaked open. A neighbor spotted the wreck and called it in. Moments later, Butch Atwood, a school bus driver, stopped by. He asked if she needed help. She said no. That she'd already called AAA, but phone records show no such call was ever made. Why lie? Was it pride, fear, or something else? Atwood left her there, and in less than 20 minutes, a police cruiser pulled up. But Maura was gone. The Saturn remained, a wounded shell by the roadside. Inside, clothes, books, alcohol. A box of wine had spilled across the back seat, staining it dark. Her wallet, her cell phone, and Maura herself were nowhere to be found. The snow held no clear footprints. Search dogs tracked her scent just 100 yards before it disappeared in the middle of the road, as if she had been lifted from the earth. or driven away by another car. For her family, the disappearance was a nightmare without end. Fred Murray, her father, begged for answers, searched the icy forests, retraced the steps investigators had already taken. Volunteers combed the mountainside, helicopters scanned the valleys. Nothing. Not a shred of clothing, not a body, not a single trace of where Maura went after she stepped out of her car. And in the shadows of her life, more questions surfaced. Just days before, she'd crashed her father's car late at night. She had been caught a year earlier using a stolen credit card. Friends said she was under enormous stress. She had reasons to feel trapped, reasons to want to leave, reasons to break away. But enough to disappear without a trace? The last known sighting of Maura Murray is frozen in time. A young woman, stranded by a broken car, speaking to a stranger under the cold glow of a streetlight. Then, gone. No one knows what she saw when she stepped away from that Saturn. The glow of headlights cresting the hill. The dark silhouette of the forest. The wide, frozen road stretching endlessly into nowhere. What happened in those final moments has haunted investigators and family alike for nearly 2 decades. Was she abducted? Pulled into another car by someone who seized the opportunity? Did she stumble into the woods, overcome by freezing temperatures, her body still hidden beneath the earth and snow? Or was this something she had planned all along, an escape from the pressures she left behind in Amherst, a vanishing act into a new, unknown life? The truth vanished on that winter road in Haverhill, New Hampshire, and in its place, silence, speculation, and a story that refuses to fade. Of all the theories surrounding Maura Murray's disappearance, the possibility of an abduction remains one of the most haunting. On the night of February 9th, 2004, she vanished from a desolate stretch of Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Her black Saturn sedan was found crashed into a snowbank, its airbags deployed. But there was no sign of Maura herself. Within minutes, she had slipped into the shadows of history. The circumstances immediately suggest vulnerability. It was dark, the road was largely empty, and the temperature hovered well below freezing. Neighbors reported seeing Maura near the car, but by the time police arrived, she was gone. Law enforcement combed the area, but no fresh footprints leading away from the scene were found. At least, none that could be confirmed as hers. This eerie absence of tracks has fueled speculation that Maura didn't walk away at all. She may have been taken. Several factors strengthen this theory. First, the location. Route 112 is a remote, rural highway with long, isolated stretches between houses and towns. A lone young woman stranded on the roadside presented a rare, high-risk opportunity for someone passing by. Second, the timeline. Maura was last seen by a local bus driver who stopped to ask if she needed help. She declined. When police arrived minutes later, she had vanished. That small window, estimated at 10 minutes or less, would have been enough for a vehicle to stop, a struggle to occur, and Maura to be forced inside. Over the years, investigators have considered potential suspects. In the early days, some locals speculated about a nearby man with a troubling criminal history, while others wondered if a stranger passing through had spotted her car and seized the opportunity. With so little evidence left at the scene, investigators struggled to connect the dots. Still, the idea that Maura encountered foul play has always been difficult to rule out. But there are problems with this explanation. For one, no clear physical evidence of an abduction was found. The car contained some of Maura's belongings, including a box of wine and personal items, but nothing pointed directly to a struggle. In addition, the snow-covered ground should have revealed signs, drag marks, footprints, or even vehicle tracks, that someone had intervened. If Maura was taken, her abductor would have had to act swiftly, cleanly, and without leaving a trace. This leads to further unsettling questions. Was her disappearance a crime of opportunity, the result of chance and timing on a lonely stretch of road? Or was it something more deliberate? Had someone been following her, aware of her movements, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike? The answers remain elusive, but the theory continues to resonate because it explains the simplest fact of all. People don't just vanish. If Maura didn't walk away on her own, then perhaps someone made sure she couldn't. Still, not everyone believes foul play was involved. Some point instead to a darker possibility, that Maura didn't need an abductor. The environment itself, the cold, the wilderness, the night, might have been enough to claim her. If Maura wasn't abducted, then perhaps the most sobering explanation is also the simplest. She succumbed to the unforgiving winter night. The conditions on February 9th, 2004, were brutal. Snowbanks lined the desolate roads, temperatures dipped well below freezing, and the forest surrounding Route 112 stretched on for miles. When her Saturn sedan crashed into that snowbank, Maura may have panicked. Perhaps she worried that police would arrive, discover the alcohol inside her car, and add to the string of recent troubles in her personal life. So instead of staying put, she left, stepping into the night with only the thin protection of her jacket, unaware she was walking into a death trap. Search dogs brought to the scene reportedly tracked her scent for a short distance before it vanished. Some investigators believe this points to an abduction, but others suggest a different scenario. The scent may have disappeared simply because Maura wandered deeper into the woods, where snow and cold quickly obscured all traces. In this version of events, Maura staggered into the forest, confused and disoriented, and collapsed somewhere out of sight. The terrain itself offers chilling possibilities. The White Mountains region is dense, with ravines, rivers, and endless acres of thick trees. Even the most extensive searches, hundreds of volunteers, helicopters, dogs, failed to uncover her body. It's possible she lies there still, covered by snow in those first crucial days, her remains later concealed by seasons of growth and decay. Wildlife scavenging, shifting soil, and the sheer vastness of the wilderness could have erased nearly every trace. A single misstep near a stream bed or into a hidden gully might have swallowed her completely. Supporters of this theory point to the many cases of people who vanish in wilderness areas every year. Panic, alcohol, disorientation, all can drive someone to make fatal choices. Maura had been under enormous stress in the days before her disappearance. It's conceivable she simply broke, fleeing blindly into the dark and freezing night until her body could go no further. And yet, something feels incomplete. Would search teams really have missed her if she had collapsed only a short distance from the road? Could she truly vanish so completely, with not a single piece of clothing, bone, or trace, uncovered in the nearly 2 decades since? The silence of the forest has offered no answers, only more questions. If Maura wasn't kidnapped, and if she didn't perish in the elements, then the final theory suggests something even more unsettling, that she may have orchestrated her own disappearance leaving behind not only her car, but her entire life. The third and most haunting theory is that Maura Murray vanished deliberately, that she slipped away into the shadows to start a new life, leaving behind her family, her friends, and all the questions that continue to echo decades later. To understand why some believe this, you have to look closely at the days before her disappearance. Maura wasn't a carefree college student. Beneath the surface, her life seemed to be fraying. She'd been involved in an incident at West Point that caused her to transfer. She'd struggled with credit card fraud charges, and her relationship with her boyfriend was complicated and at times strained. Just days before she vanished, she had a breakdown at work that was so severe she was escorted back to her dorm by her supervisor. On top of this, her grades were slipping, and her future felt uncertain. To many, these details suggest a young woman under immense pressure, someone who might have been looking for a way out. Then came her final, enigmatic actions. Maura withdrew nearly $280 from her account, emptied belongings from her dorm into boxes, and emailed professors claiming she'd be gone due to a death in the family, a lie. She packed alcohol into her car, printed directions to Burlington, Vermont, and drove north into the mountains. Taken together, these steps look less like coincidence and more like intention. The theory suggests that Maura planned her disappearance. The small amount of money could have been seed cash to get started. The directions could have been a decoy, or a genuine destination where she planned to meet someone. The alcohol might not have been for a weekend escape, but for courage, or even a last tie to her old life. At the crash site, things get stranger. Witnesses saw Maura at her car but not injured. When police arrived, she was gone, her scent trail fading just a few feet into the woods before disappearing altogether. To those who believe in this theory, that abrupt end wasn't because she collapsed or died, but because she got into another vehicle, perhaps prearranged. If someone was waiting nearby, she could have slipped away into the night with no trace. But why? That's the question that makes this theory so divisive. Did she want to escape her academic pressures, the fallout of her mistakes, the weight of her personal struggles? Was she fleeing from something darker? Abuse, trauma, secrets we may never know? Or was she simply yearning for freedom, to reinvent herself far from the expectations and disappointments closing in around her? Supporters of this theory argue it's not only possible, but not unprecedented. People have disappeared before, walking away from their lives to re-emerge years later under new names. Others have vanished completely, leaving behind nothing but speculation. And yet, holes remain. Maura had limited resources. No large sums of money, no fake identification, no strong evidence of long-term planning. If she intended to vanish, how could she have maintained it for 20 years without a single proven sighting, bank record, or digital trace? Even in the early 2000s, starting over wasn't simple. Her family insists she would never abandon them willingly, and that belief has kept them searching year after year. Still, the whispers persist. Anonymous internet posts have claimed to know where she is. Some say she was spotted in Canada, others along the Appalachian Trail. Nothing has ever been confirmed, but the idea lingers. Maura Murray, not dead, but out there somewhere, choosing silence over return. If true, it would be the cruelest twist of all. Her family left in endless limbo, searching for someone who does not want to be found. A disappearance not born of violence or tragedy, but of choice. A ghost story of a different kind. One where the ghost is alive, but gone, all the same. Thank you for joining us on this episode of 3 Theories. The disappearance of Maura Murray remains one of the most haunting unsolved cases of the 21st century. Was she kidnapped on that cold New Hampshire road, taken by a stranger who crossed her path at the wrong moment? Did she succumb to the elements, disoriented and alone in the wilderness just beyond the headlights? Or did she vanish deliberately, choosing to step into a new life and leave behind only questions? What do you believe? To learn more about Maura Murray's case, visit the resources provided in the show notes and on our website, 3theoriespodcast.com. There you can find additional reading and investigative materials to help you form your own conclusions. We want to hear your thoughts and theories. Share them with us on social media and join the conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more curious minds like yours and continue to explore the world's greatest mysteries. Join us next time as we uncover another intriguing case and present 3 more theories for you to consider. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.